Hey, Planeswalkers, welcome back for another week of Friday Night Meta here, off into the Brothers War. We got our second real full week here now of the set. Very excited. We got a lot of changes going on. I've had a lot of fun with it. We got a lot of fun going on in the Discord server and within the community. So appreciate you tuning in as always, Planeswalkers. If you got a question or comment throughout today's episode, do let me know. Feel free to swing by the Discord server. I do have timestamps down below, along with great ways to stay connected here. Appreciate your subscribes and likes as always. All right, Planeswalkers, let's get moving as we break down all the different metas here for you in best of 1 and best of 3 for this week. All right, so here's the update. We got Azora Soldiers here, Mono White Soldiers still being at the top of the pack. We're starting to see a little bit of that distance continuing to spread out. Now, when we get to the bottom of the pack, though, here we got Grixis Midrange, Mono Blue Tempo, everything from Bronze to Mythic now is above 50%. So we're starting to see a couple things settle in here. We still have Selesnya Enchantments in the meta. I want to say Mono Blue Tempo is getting back in there as well. So those are some of the key pieces. Now, popularity here on the right, we're seeing Mono Red Burn going up. Azora Soldiers, those Soldiers decks are being pretty strong as well. And then again, compression in terms of that popularity being played. If we scroll down here, let me go back. If we scroll down, there we go. If we scroll down here, you can see as things are kind of starting to skyrocket and take off. You see that Mono Red Burn really going up. Like I said, we see that Grixis Midrange going up, like we talked about as well. We're starting to see that win rate fall. Mono White Soldiers, Azora Soldiers starting to come down a little bit. Then Mono Red Burn kind of going sideways. Enchantments coming down a little bit, and also Mono Black aggro. So very interesting to see there. Let's go ahead and look at the competitive scene as well. A couple big things here. We see Mono White Soldiers at the top of the list. Grixis Midrange move up much further. Mono Red kind of in the middle. We see that Selesnya Enchantments really falling off. And then on the right here, we see a little shift in terms of what's played and those kinds of things as well. So that is standard best of 1. Let's go over to best of 3. We have seen the standard metagame challenge here. So let's see if we can reload this real quick. There we go. Oh, here we go. And here's what we got going on when it comes to best of 3. We got Azora Soldiers still in there. Mono Black aggro. We got Mono White Soldiers, Esper Legends, Grixis Midrange, Esper Midrange, Mono Blue Tempo, and Azora's Control. Grixis Midrange heavily played, one of the decks that we played as well by Lilium in terms of the metagame challenge. Super fun, huge clip there, but 32%. The meta, everything else fairly kind of in the middle there until we get below Azora's Control or really Mono Black aggro. Then as we scroll down, we can see this really taking off here as well in terms of played, and then really kind of steady Eddie there in terms of the mid rates for everything. We do see Soldiers decks and things, Esper Midrange coming down a little bit. Let's see if there's anything in Mythic here for you this week. We do. We got Rakdos Midrange, Azora Soldiers, Esper Midrange, and Grixis Midrange here when we see those things. And again, heavily dominated between those two in the meta. All right, so that closes out standard for this week. Let's go over to Alchemy, see what's happening in Alchemy. We've got Mono Red Aggro doing very well, Mono Red Goblins doing very well, Rakdos Sacrifice, Selesnya Enchantments, and Mono Blue Tempo. 41% of you on aggro for Mono Red, and Rakdos Sacrifice at 20, and then Selesnya Enchantments at 10%. So very heavy there. A little bit of a dip come back, but we saw that Rakdos Sacrifice pop up, and then again we continue to now see that Mono Red aggro win rate go up, and then the Rakdos Sacrifice win rate go up as well. Let's see if there's anything in Mythic for you in best of 1. Yep, Mono Red aggro, Rakdos Sacrifice there. In terms of what is happening, my fellow Planeswalkers. All right, so let's bust over to best of 3. Best of 3 is Mono Red Goblins, Rakdos Sacrifice. 80% on Rakdos Sacrifice, Mono Red Goblins at 15. All right, so that's what we got going on. I'll leave it at that for this week. Let's go over to our historic mode. Historic, we got Is It Wizards back on top. We got Rakdos Midrange, Is It Belcher, a new one. Selesnya Squirrel Twin back in there. Mono Red Goblins, Mono Green Elves, Azora's Control, Mono Red Aggro. Is It Wizards at 24% of the meta. Elves very high at 14. Is It Belcher there. Squirrel Twin very competitive in terms of what we're seeing. Again, Is It Wizards really taking off. Probably with some new pickups here that we've seen. Mono Green Elves coming down. And then again, Is It Wizards doing really, really nice in terms of that win rate. We do see Is It Belcher coming up as well in terms of what's happening. So very strong there, best of one for historic. Let's look at Mythic. Mythic, we got Rakdos mid-range at the top, Boros Affinity, Is It Wizards, Azor's Control, and Mono Green Elves. So again, we can see this. And then on the right here, Is It Wizards is still 33%. Rakdos mid-range at 12, 10, 9, and 7 here. So very, very competitive in terms of what we're seeing. All right, so let's pull that all the way back out. Let's see what we got going on in historic best of 3. Rakdos Goblins, Rakdos midrange, Is It Wizards, Mono Red Aggro, Azor's Affinity, Azor's Control, and Temur Gates in there. Super fun deck. Rakdos midrange, as we see, 30%, Azor's Affinity 15 plus, Azor's Control less than 15, and then we get down below that. Here again, we see very, very heavy domination by Rakdos midrange, a little flip here between Control and Affinity, a big fall off in win rate for Affinity there, and the rise of some of these other win rates in these decks. Let's see what we got going on in Mythic. If anything, we do got some stuff. Rakdos midrange, Rakdos Goblins, Is It Wizards, Azor's Affinity, Azor's Control here in terms of what's going on. You can see that there. All right, we can pull all the way back out, back to best of 1. We have Explorer. So for Explorer, here's what we got going on. Mono Blue Spirit still at the top. We got Mono Red Aggro, Slizny Angels, Rakdos Sacrifice, Absent Greasefang in there. Mono Red Burn, Azor's Control, Rakdos midrange, Greasefang, Mono Red Aggro, really high, along with Slizny Angels and Mono Blue Spirits. And then bottom half, we got Rakdos Sacrifice, Azor's Control, Rakdos midrange, Mono Red Burn. And then as you can see here, we see some switch going on here in terms of Absent Greasefang, that Mono Red. And then additionally here, Slizny Angels, and lots of rising here. Kind of shift, towards the middle a little bit after the new set. And then again, Mono Blue Spirit's still doing very well. Slizny Angels kind of coming off as some of these other ones come up here in terms of win rates. All right, let's go to the competitive space. In the competitive space, we do have Mono Blue Spirits, Rakdos Sacrifice, Absent Greasefang, Source Control, Rakdos midrange, Slizny Angels, and Mono Red not doing so good. Then on the right here, heavily dominated for 5 and above. And then again, we can see some of these trends. So that is Explorer best of 1. Let's see what's going on in best of 3. Best of 3, we got Mono Blue Spirits at the top, 4-color Fires deck. Absent Greasefang, Slizny Angels, Rakdos midrange, Rakdos Sacrifice, Azor's Control, and then Mono Red Burn. Here again, very heavily played at the top. We got Rakdos midrange, Azor's Control. Then we got the 4-color Fires and Absent Greasefang doing pretty well there. Rakdos Sacrifice, Mono Blue Spirits, and then followed by Mono Red Burn and Slizny Angels. Then when we look here, we get the trending, still trending in terms of popularity. We get Azor's Control really coming up. And then again, you can see some win rates. We got a huge switch there, and that Mono Blue Spirits rocking up there as well. So there you have Explorer best of 3 at the broad range. Let's go ahead and look at the competitive scene. Competitive scene, Mono Blue Spirits at 75%, Source Control at 58, Absent Greasefang at 52, and then the rest there for the Rakdos decks. Rakdos midrange at 18, Azor's Control at 17%, Mono Blue Spirits right in the middle, Absent Greasefang and Rakdos Sacrifice. So very, very powerful. Positive win rate decks there. Again, 75 always being very, very nice. But to close out today's episode, let's go to Historic. Historic, we got the first sliver still. Kinnan Bonder Prodigy, Go Shintai of Life's Origin, and then a host of these things here down below. Eldrafa, Golos, Ramos, Dragon Engine, and Joda. These 5-color decks here. Not lots of 5-color decks, which is great, but only in the middle of the pack doing 50% and above. Lots of players always like to try new stuff, like there's a Lord Protector here. And then you can see how everything else is playing on the side. Again, really popular at the beginning, kind of came down. Again, win rates here very high with the first sliver, as well as Kinnan Bonder Prodigy. And Kinnan's been a great deck for a long time when it comes to Historic meta. All right, so to pull it all back together, Planeswalkers, again, we got really our first full week here of the Brothers War. Super fun, enjoying it. If you got some unlimited stuff, if you got some of the standard metagame challenge stuff from a lot of those in the Discord server, thank you for everyone that always shares their decks. Congrats on the nice runs. And with that, Planeswalkers, great ways for you to stay connected here on the channel. You can subscribe, you can follow me in a host of areas that's available to you down below. Also, feel free to come by the Discord server. We'd love to see you there. Great community. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving as well. So appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you again, Planeswalkers. I got a ton more stuff coming here on the channel as always. And until next time, you stay safe, you take care. We'll see you again soon. Mythras out.